Hi, are you okay? I hope you are okay. This is today's lesson that's called oral presentation skills. So, what does oral presentation skills? These are some of the strategies or the skills that everybody or everyone can practice or everyone can develop these skills. Yeah. If you have a plan to present an agenda to residences, or to present maybe a thesis in your exam in front of your examiners, or to teach a lesson to the society. So everyone should have this skill, oral presentation skill. If you do not have this skill, we have a problem to present the lessons that we are going to present in a residence. So everyone should just have this skill in our mind. What are oral presentation skills? If you have an oral presentation skills, your presentation is smart, sensible, and everyone likes you. Everyone likes your presentation. It is interesting presentation rather than boring. Rather than boring. To make an interesting presentation, everyone should have in mind about these presentation skills. Let me say something about this one. The first one is there must be an eye contact. So whenever you present your lesson to an audience, you should contact with everyone, should contact in everyone, because it's a way of helping your audiences, understanding your audiences, which means how much the audiences understand your preach, how much they understand your lesson that you are going to present. Or it sometimes helps you to avoid your frustration whenever there is an eye contact with the audiences. So eye contacting has valuable contribution to present your lesson, to present your agenda, to present what you want to present. So eye contact. This is the first criteria, the first parameter to an individual to present a lesson interestingly. Otherwise, if no eye contact, your presentation may be sometimes boring. Yeah, someone doesn't like your presentation, so eye contact should be the first thing. Yeah, and eye contact, and the second, self-confidence. Yeah, self-confidence is standing by myself. Yes, standing by myself. How often do I know my lesson? Self-confidence. How often do I explain in different ways about my lesson? How much I feel confidence about myself. I feel confident means, just how much I can just use with an expressive language, understandable language, communicable language, educable language, self-confidence. I'm not just, I do not feel frustration when I develop self-confidence. So, your ways of presenting the lesson is comfortable because you feel self-confidence. So, self-confidence is also another important oral presentation skills. Self-confidence in terms of knowing the subject, in terms of your subject matter, or in terms of understanding the audiences, or in terms of your personality, self-confidence, in terms of the mistake you may sometimes make, self-confidence. Yeah, I may sometimes make mistakes, so I feel confidence. It's not given only making mistakes to myself. Some people may make mistakes. So I think in this way, self-confidence, it has a significant value to develop oral presentation skills. Unless someone may have this skill, he or she cannot present what he or she wants to present in front of audiences. So self-confidence is an important ingredient of oral presentation skills. Facial expression is also another. If sometimes do not want to use verbal communication, you might use facial expression, maybe with your eyes, your forehead, your face, maybe some other, just parts of your body, facial expression. So it makes it sensible, it makes it interesting, it makes it flexible, it makes it fun between the audiences and the presenter, you yourself, whenever you sometimes use nonverbal communication, because nonverbal communication are one ways of communicating with one another. So this is true. This is true. We cannot just always, or we cannot use 100% for verbal communication. So depending on the context, depending on the situation that we are going to present, you might sometimes use facial expression. Yeah, if you want to just show some sign on your eye, you can just use the sign of forehead, maybe on your part of the face, maybe just on the other parts of your body. This is facial expression is also another means of communication. The other is fluency. Fluency means we do not just focus accuracy of the language, accuracy of the pronunciation, accuracy of the grammatical structure, accuracy of the presentation. Sometimes fluency. Our focus is how much I convey the messages rather than focusing the intent of the language itself. Fluency, the ability to communicate with a kind of language, the ability to make understand with my audiences, fluency. But we do not focus only accuracy. The more you practice fluency, the better you improve our language. Fluency is also another important key parts of oral presentation skills. Fluency. Some people may afraid of presenting a lesson to audiences because I don't have my language or my pronunciation is poor, so I cannot stand in front of the audiences, so I had better far from presenting a lesson to an audience. Yes, but this is not the way. This is not the approach of presenting. Whatever you make mistakes, whatever you use, poor fluency, poor pronunciation. So fluency is also better and important to present. So it's one of oral presentation skills. Yeah. So the next one is accuracy, correctness. It means the grammar you use, the sentence you use, the pronunciation you use should be accurate, which is meaningful. The audience can easily understand. You cannot make any single sentence easily understandable. Maybe this is true for if you present your thesis in front of the examiners, maybe there is a need of accuracy, but maybe sometimes that's not a rule, that's mandatory. You might use a fluency. You might use fluency to present the lesson because the examiners may understand what you want to say to them. But some cases, in some situation, there must be an accuracy. Yes, accuracy is also important. Accuracy is a correctness, meaningful ways of saying, meaningful ways of approaching, meaningful ways of making sentences is accuracy. So it is true for writing sentence. Accuracy most dominantly use or focus on writing. And in terms of oral presentation skills, accuracy is also important, but it's not somehow 100% necessary if you want to present something accurately, because we may sometimes make mistakes. Absolutely right. And the other, gesture is also another important. Yeah, body movement is nodding of your head, waving here, and shrugging of my finger like this, shrugging, nodding up and down for my and side to side. Yes, and with movement my shoulders. This is a way of communicating. It makes refresh my mind and need of interesting communication between the audiences and the presenter. So gesture is also one way of communicating without words. Non-verbal communication or body movement has significant value for oral presentation skills. If I want to just like this, normal, these are an examples of gesture. Very smart ways of communication or oral presentation skills. And the other very important, your voice, tone of voice. If your voice is very thin, no communication, no oral presentation skills, because your presentation is boring. The audience may lend their ears to you. They simply leave the hall. So depending on the context you are presenting, your voice sometimes turn up and turn down, right? If you want to just there is a good or convenient environment, your voice is also sometimes intermediate or medium. If you want to just turn up your voice, of course, turn down your voice, depending on the, so voice is also an important element of oral presentation skills. If you just always talk or use your sound very slow and very thin sound, so that kind of presentation is, it's a kind of dormant presentation or boring presentation. Everyone hates your presentation. Everyone hates your presentation, which is a boring oral presentation skills. So, depending on the context, your voice varies. Key element. The other one is understand the audience. Very important. Do my audiences are intellectual? Do the audience are adult learners? Do the audiences are the audiences kids, females, women, and young university lecturers, university students, high school students? So we should understand the audience first. Understanding the audience may help you to make ready about the agenda or the lesson you are going to present. Depending on the audiences, your lesson that you are going to present varies. If they are intellectual, your lesson should be smart and encourages the audience to think thoroughly. If the audience are illiterate, they are from the countryside, the lessons that you are going to is very medium and understandable language. Maybe your lesson may not push them to think thoroughly. They simply understand what you are going to say. And maybe if you want to just teach about women, what agenda is yours? To determine the agenda or the lesson, you first understand the audiences. How much they carry your idea. They understand your idea, your lesson. So understanding or labeling or identifying the audience is also another important element of oral presentation skills. So all these are the very common, the very important, the very essential that everyone should develop, everyone should practice to become an excellent oral presenters. So try to just practice and keep it up. I hope you will use it and you will improve your presentation skills. This is all about today's. Thank you for paying attention. Don't forget to give comments and to subscribe my channel and like my channel. So, some comments still, please try to just use an Amharic version whenever you are teaching us on YouTube channels. I have written replies about the one who wrote about why don't you use Amharic when you explained about the lessons. But if this lesson is presented to intermediate and advanced learners, and it is very much important to practice English by English. English, not by Amharic. This is not the way to improve your language skills. Thank you. Have a nice time.